So here we are outside the Vitality Stadium, and you may not know the face, but as soon as he speaks, you'll probably know. How are you?
I'm very good, Sam. Very good indeed. Jeff Hayward, obviously.
Yes, of course. Podcast listeners will know his voice. Seasoned Cherries fan, Jeff Hayward. And Jeff, thoughts on the season so far? We've been all right, haven't we?
We've been okay. I was reflecting on it this morning, thinking it feels like this is quite an under the radar season.
Yeah.
You know, I've been listening to lots of chat about Premier League stuff, and whenever it comes up about Bournemouth, we always get overlooked. It's like people don't realise, I don't think, quite how good we could be this season.
Yeah, it's who knows what could happen. And this video, we're previewing the Arsenal match at the weekend. Of course, it's 2 p.m. kickoff at the Emirates, and as part of it, we spoke to Tom from the Gooner Talk, who gave us his thoughts on their season so far and also his predictions for the game.
Hi guys, Tom here from the Gooner Talk, giving my Arsenal perspective ahead of Arsenal against Bournemouth on Sunday. In terms of where Arsenal are sort of at this season, it's been a weird one. Our fans still aren't really happy under Unai Emery as manager. He's sort of created already, so not as similar to Arsene Wenger, but fairly similar in some certain circumstances, a bit of a divide. Some people are now pretty much ready to say see you later to the Spaniard, whilst others are willing to sort of see this season through, see what happens. Can we achieve Champions League qualification? If we can, great. Some people think that even if we do achieve that, it's still time for the Spaniard to move on. He's done his job. He sort of took us from the Arsene Wenger era into what is going to come next under this new structure up top. But at the same time, Arsenal fans are excited because we've got a lot of young talent that's coming through. I'm speaking to you just after Arsenal have beaten Standard Liège 4-0 with youngster Gabriel Martinelli and Joe Willock getting on the score sheet, and there's a lot of exciting times for Arsenal fans ahead with these youngsters that are coming through. But I think that in terms of how we've fared this season, we've sort of done as expected. We've lost the games that we thought we would lose against Liverpool. We've picked up points in games where maybe we could have done better, like against Spurs and Manchester United. And we've had some really, really big scares, like against Aston Villa, where we just came out of it with a 3-2 win and got all 3 points. And there have been games where ultimately maybe we didn't deserve to come out with a winning, and we have done, like that Villa game, and that is very Arsenal. We've not yet had the big loss against or the coup for a smaller side, but I'm sure that is going to be round the corner at some point, and maybe that'll be on Sunday. Bournemouth for me, and Arsenal Bournemouth in particular, at the Emirates isn't really too much of a concern as it is when you go to the Vitality. Bournemouth away from home is always sort of marked in my calendar as one where I'm thinking, yeah, Arsenal could drop some points here. But at the Emirates, I think it's probably fair to say that, and no disrespect to the Bournemouth side, I just think that at home, Arsenal are a very, very different side to what they are away from home. And at home, they are a very, very confident team. And I think that with Bournemouth's defensive instabilities, whilst their attacking side of things is excellent, and I love their free-flowing football and caution to the wind attitude sometimes, defensively, I think there are some holes that Arsenal certainly could sort of use to their advantage. So that's where I'm at. In terms of a prediction, I'm going to go with a 3-1 win. I can still obviously always see Arsenal conceding, but I am confident enough to say that I think Arsenal will come away with all 3 points. I would wish you luck for the rest of the season, but that would include this game on Sunday. So I'm going to say from that point on, good luck, other than the away fixture, of course. But I hope you enjoy the game. If anyone's going down to the Emirates, you'll have a great time. Enjoy that. But thank you ever so much for having me on the channel, and I much appreciate it. Go check out the Gooner Talk. We've also done a show with Sam, which you can check out too to get his side of things. But thank you ever so much for the opportunity, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Okay, so some interesting thoughts there. Obviously, they're confident. I mean, you would be when you haven't lost to us. I mean, we haven't gained a point at the Emirates, have we?
No, and I was at one of the games there a couple of seasons back where we got turned over. I think it was 3-1, and honestly, the most enjoyable thing there was singing "Is This a Library?" which I'm sure we'll be at that again this weekend. In terms of performances and results, I always feel when we play Arsenal, there's part of the game where we're in it and we're looking like we could get a result, whether that's a draw or a victory. And I think this is quite a pivotal game for us. The more I think about it, the more I think, this is a top 6 side where I think we've got a chance.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it. Excuse my attention just been shifted slightly because some guys fell off his bicycle over there, but he seems to be okay. He's got a lot of people.
Completely missed that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of people helping him, so all is good. Don't worry, he's got a team around him. But in terms of how we're going to line up against them, it's an interesting one because, like we said on the podcast, surely this is Ryan Fraser's time to shine. I mean, I know he was ill last week, but this could be an opportunity for him to basically advertise himself.
Fraser for Wilson, I think, is a decision that Eddie's going to be wrestling with. But Ryan Fraser, he's had a couple of games out, he's had a couple of under par performances, a couple of good performances coming on as sub, so I think this is the time. Come on, Ryan, step up, prove that you're deserving of a contract with Arsenal, or prove that you're committed to stay.
And is this a 5 at the back game for AFC Bournemouth?
Well, I talked about it being pivotal a minute ago, and I think he's got a tough call, really. The 4-4-2's seen us score goals. We've got a lot of goals in us the last few games, and when we play with 5 at the back, that limited us creatively, I thought, when we last played that. So what's he going to go for? And maybe it's going to be a sign of how confident Eddie feels about getting a result, whether he plays 4-4-2 or the 5-4-1.
Yeah, I've been wondering about this because I think Solanke, as good as he's been in terms of, obviously he hasn't scored any goals, but I think he may get dropped and they'll have an extra man either in the middle of the park with Lewis Kirk or maybe 5 at the back. And if it was going to be 5 at the back, would it be Frano that slots in instead of Mepham? Maybe Mepham, I think, is an interesting one. He reminds me a bit of a John Stones light at the moment, and difficult to know how Eddie's going to look at it. But I would favour Frano for a more solid kind of central 3 if he does go that way. And still keep Stacey and Rico. I think, Rico, obviously player of the month. I know, amazing.
Clearly.
What do we know?
So that might be the way he goes. Or he might decide, you know what, Arsenal are vulnerable. They are not all that this season. And, let's be honest, Villa should have beaten them.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I mean, they played their second string pretty much last night in the Europa, didn't they, against Standard Liège, and ended up winning 4-0. But against Man United, I felt they probably could have beaten Man United, but Man United weren't much, were they?
It was another dire game, and United are no great shakes, and the lack of bite and aggression from Arsenal to actually recognise that and say we're going to take it this game. They're just not that sort of team. So it's a really interesting fixture. Could be a watershed for us if we get 3 points there. Well, the sky's the limit this season. That's how I feel. And then I think it's Arsenal at the Emirates. We're going to lose, because we always do.
Yeah, that's right. So it's interesting hearing what Eddie Howe had to say earlier on at the press conference. Obviously, he's talking about the training facilities. We'll show some video now of where we're training at the moment, and the players are actually out there. I saw Nathan Ake and Steve Cook bombing about just now. But obviously, speaking of the training ground, unbelievable news, isn't it?
Really exciting, and I think that in terms of Eddie's legacy is one thing, but in terms of the here and now, we need to up the facilities and the infrastructure around the club. We need to be confident in being a Premier League competitive outfit. Stadium's going to be the next part of that.
Yep.
But we've got to start with the basics and get that right. Very heartening.
Yeah, and you can watch that video, of course. Just go back through our latest videos and you can see that. But really great news. And you also spoke about a few of the players that are coming back from injury slowly but surely. Dan Gosling, Adam Smith. More options for AFC Bournemouth. It can only be a good thing having all this competition.
Well, this is it. We talked at the start of the season about having lots of depth. Let's see the benefit of having that depth with having all the players back fit. I'm really excited that Brooks is coming back as well.
Yep. That's
not going to be long. Look at the options, look at the strength in depth. We can do something very special this season. If
just imagine. And Callum Wilson, he's been firing recently, and had an email from the PFA. As it's gone 3 o'clock, we can announce this, but he's actually been nominated for the PFA Player of the Month as well. So there's a link in the description. If you want to vote, you can do it now. He's with other players such as Aubameyang and more. He's in a list of players that are in the higher echelons of the Premier League. So fair play to Callum Wilson there. And obviously he's going to be a goal threat, isn't he? And wouldn't it be nice if we could notch at the Emirates and not concede for once, because we keep on conceding?
Wouldn't it be nice? I think several wishes. Obviously, to get our first point would be great. Callum to continue this fantastic run of scoring, that would be great. I think if we can keep a clean sheet, that would be just superb. So let's hope for ticking all three boxes, eh?
And Jeff's not on the podcast this week, but if you want to listen again to the podcast, just go to afcbpodcast.com or check out Back of the Net Bournemouth just on your phone app. Jeff, I know you made a prediction on the podcast. Has it been revised at all after that Arsenal game on Monday night? And then, or are you going to be a bit more optimistic? You said 2-1.
I did say a 2-1 defeat. Now, the closer I get to the game, I'm feeling maybe we could nick this. Maybe we could. So let's say it could go 2-1 our way, and I'll cover both bases. How about that?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw, and fingers crossed we'll get some points. But anyway, if you're travelling up, enjoy the game. I'll be outside the Emirates somewhere. I'll let you know where I'm allowed to film, etc. Interestingly, when I was walking past the training ground earlier on, I saw some guy hovering in the bushes, and I thought it was almost like a sort of Marco Bielsa Derby Spygate. It was actually security. I thought it might be someone from Arsenal checking out our tactics. But we're really looking forward to the game. See you outside the stadium, and cheers, Jeff.
Cheers, Sam. Thanks.
Up the cherries.
Better check that bloke's alright.
Yeah.